Everybody, it's Michael. Mark your calendars. It's going to be August 12th at 8 a.m. Pacific time. That's our MAVEN Wave 3 Kickstarter. And the reason why you want to mark your calendars specifically for that time is because when we launch, we have our deepest discounts, sometimes up to 60% off. We've done this twice now, and the last time we sold out within just 2 hours. We have put together a Kickstarter Wave 3 backers buyer's guide, which will be available. There should be a link somewhere around this video. If you're, depending on where you're watching this, it's a PDF or JPEG kind of brochure that will tell you what's available and in what sizes. The hero product of Wave 3 is the brand new MAVEN Mini Ring Light. We've tried to make the ring part as small as possible. This is a dual magnetic mini ring light. Obviously, there's a power button here. Push and hold. Here it comes. And it has Kelvin control. It has hemisphere control. It has brightness control. And the idea on this is that you would pop it onto your lens using an adapter or a step-up ring, and then you could connect additional MAVEN filters to the front. You can stack filters on it. It is really a very powerful tool if you do any macro photography, any close-up photography, videography, where you need a constant light on the front of your lens. Once we got to this product, we learned there was like a dozen other ways to use it, including on Zoom calls, FaceTime. You can use it as a fill light. If you're close enough, you can use it as a off-camera product light. There are some accessories we've made for this. The clip kit, this is going to be one of the accessories that will allow you to clip onto the ring light. And now you have an ability to clip it onto your phone, your computer. The battery lasts about 2 hours. I was shocked the first time I did it, but that's why it has this funky shape, is there's a battery inside. But that's the MAVEN Ring Light. We're very excited and pumped to bring this product out, and there'll be some more accessories I'll talk about for this at the end of the video. So next I want to talk about the diopters. One is a +2 diopter, and one is a +4 diopter. And essentially what diopters do is they allow us to move our camera lenses closer to our subject matter. So most lenses will have a minimum focusing distance that you have to be far away enough before the camera will start focusing. So let's pretend this is the minimum focusing distance. If the camera got any closer with its native lens, it would not be able to focus. And so this is where diopters come in. We redesigned this to be a heavy-duty ring, just pops on, and it allows you to move the camera closer, magnifying the subject matter and essentially becoming a close-up lens. There's a lot of technical explanation that goes into this, and I wrote a full article. We couldn't even put it on the Kickstarter page because there was so much information, but we put it on our blog, and you can read about all the technical details of what's going on, what is macro, and it's very informative. The important takeaway with diopters is it allows you to use your lenses in ways that they were not really designed for. So if you have a non-macro, in this case a 24-105, a general purpose lens, it's not really macro, it doesn't really allow you to get close up, you would pop a diopter on and it would allow you to move your camera much closer. Why is this a great thing? Well, number one, macro lenses are expensive. You know, a good macro 800 and higher. And typically they are primes, which means you cannot adjust your field of view, your lens perspective. And there are times you may want to be a little bit more wide, you may want to be a little bit more telephoto. And so when you put a diopter on a general purpose lens, you sort of have, it's not quite macro, we refer to it as close-up. It allows you to get close up to your subject matter in different focal lengths. You're also looking at a lighter camera bag, and this is something that you can just have in your bag with not needing to bring a macro lens with you. Really great way to get into the macro photography world. If you're new to it, it's a more affordable way. You can experiment with focal lengths, find out what you really like. Do these work with the ring light? So what it would look like is, boom, you're putting on your ring light, and boom, you have a macro lens working with your ring light. And this is really what we're trying to do with MAVEN filters, is to not only make great individual products, but to also make them work together in a synergistic manner, to make them team up to get new uses and new utility. Let's talk about what we're calling the LPL Diffusion Combo Filter. Sometimes we just call it the combo filter. In the MAVEN ecosystem, anything with a blue ring signifies that this is a polarizer. So we know this is a polarizer, and we also have these 4 squares Very similar to what we call our show glow filters, which is a diffusion filter, halation filter. It takes highlights and it makes them glow. So this is a glow filter at a 1/4 strength polarizer combo. We're very excited about that. We've seen some great landscapers take some awesome pictures with it. Basically combines our LPL with our show glow filter. This is our brand new Dream Soft filter. It comes in a burnt orange. It's a darker orange than the 10-stop filter, and you'll see this wavy pattern on the side. The Dream Soft filter is a softening filter. It takes your image and it's sort of like, you know, those Facetune kinds of things. It's kind of an example. But back in the day, creators would put Vaseline on certain parts of their lens, or, you know, to get this like soft, dreamy effect, kind of softens the image up. And that's essentially what it does. It doesn't do it quite as much as Vaseline would do. It's built into the filter, so you don't have to clean up after. And it gives it this ethereal kind of look if you're shooting a landscape. If you're shooting a person, it will remove pores and skin blemishes, and it will soften the face up just a little bit. The little circle in the middle that you can see sometimes if you hold it at an angle basically means it'll be just a little bit sharper there. It'll still be softened, but the center is sharper than the rest of the filter itself. Starwalker is an astrophotography filter. This has been an incredibly difficult filter to get dialed in. It's been more art than science. Part of the problem is that in the creation of the glass is there's a process that is not easily repeatable, and there's a lot of variation. It takes a star, it's overexposure, and it spreads it out to be a little bit bigger. So it does this through softening. So the look is that if you put this on and you get a long exposure on stars, especially the brighter stars, they are going to be bigger. It basically makes stars a little bit bigger and a little bit more diffuse. This guy right here, you'll see the wavy line. It's a little bit longer than our IR 720, which came out in wave 2. But if you look at a side-by-side image of a 720 compared to an 830, the 830, especially in the vegetation, you're going to see far more white infrared light once it's, you know, processed and everything. It just basically blocks out more visible light. Many of our black and white photographers had emailed us and said, hey, do you have any plans for an infrared set? And so I sat down and I said, you know what, we could probably do that. And what would the designs look? I'm really pumped about the designs on this. So these circles, these O's, orange. It's an orange black and white filter. We have the red triangle design. This originally was something we were trying to do with the dark CPL. It didn't work out, but it came back to it now. For red, triangles have 3 sides, R, E, D. And then we have the yellow. It's like this trapezoid. It's almost like a Y shape. That's what I was going for, Y for yellow. And essentially, these are sort of like visible light filters. They cut off certain types of visible light. If you look at the spectrograph chart that we have, you'll see where those cutoffs are. In black and white photography, this can give you a lot of creative range to control what you're capturing. That is our black and white series. I think these are just beautiful. I'm very happy with how they turned out. This filter here is what we're calling the laser protector. It's a kind of like a neon pink. So if you go to a concert and you have a laser light that hits your sensor at the right angle, it'll ruin your sensor. It's very well documented. This protects this and prevents it from happening. We don't know really, you know, what the interest is, but suffice it to say, we're starting off as an 82 and a 77 millimeter. If there's enough interest, we'll continue to come out in a 55 to protect your phone, for example, possibly even have an adapter version of it so you can thread it onto your lens and not worry about it being bumped off. So this is our new Kaleidescope filter. You'll notice that it has a deep purple color, like a deep plum, octagons with knurling. And this is a magnetic effect filter. Boom, just like that. The thing that it does is it basically takes a subject and turns it into a radial pattern. It's almost like a texture creator. You can even kind of pull it off and keep it in front of the camera if you want to tilt and use it for different angle kind of thing. We don't know how in demand these effect filters are going to be, so we're kind of like dipping our toe into the water. One of the stretch goal filters is another effect filter. You know, a lot of people ask me, Michael, how do you organize your filters? So I'll point this out real quick. What I do is I use the quick cases for MAVEN filters, and I just use a label maker, and I put, you know, what class of filter this one says effects, this one's black and white infrared, and then I sit them on a shelf in such a way that I can read across all those quick cases, and I just grab the class of filters I want. The star arm filters, there's different kinds of them. Some of them are smaller, some of them are larger. These are the larger ones used typically in landscape type images. Very problematic to get the quality control of the type of shape and look of the star itself. There are a lot of bad ones out there on the market, and I think one of my superpowers is telling my suppliers and partners, no, that's not good enough. No, that's not good enough. Nope, that's not good enough. That goes on for months until we get to a product that we really like. You'll notice that this one has 4 stars, and the shape of the star, kind of hard to see, has 4 arms. This one has 6 stars, and there's 6 arms. So this is a 6-star arm shape. And this one, we couldn't make the arms small enough. They were too fragile and kind of sharp. So we used alternating inverted triangles for the 8-star arm. And you can feel the difference on all of those. That is our star arm filter effect series. This is another filter that just absolutely gave us fits in development. And you'll notice it's a kind of like a cream orange with these green ovals, and there's a triangle and a square in there. So the idea on the square is that is in my mind, a symbol for H, and the triangle is a symbol for A. HA, H alpha. An H alpha filter, typically when you find these, they are clip-in filters that you would remove your lens and put them in the back of the camera, and then you put your lens back on. So this filter will capture a very specific bandwidth of light. And this is the light that is emitted when hydrogen molecules are going through a certain reaction. It gives off this very deep, dark red wavelength of light. And so what this filter essentially does is allow you to capture only that light. It's very useful for different types of astrophotography. We had to go through a lot of money and cost in finding partners who could make it the way we wanted. Originally, what they were telling us was, it's too hard to make, can't make it. And then we ran into another manufacturer that said, we can make them, but 90% of them are going to be bad. We'll have to throw them away. This is why they're smaller. It's easier to make them as smaller filters. So in the discussion that I've had with different high-end users, instructors, nobody makes a magnetic H-alpha filter, to the best of my knowledge. And so I said, okay, let's make it really special. Let's have glow-in-the-dark knurling. So that's what this is. You have to recharge it, obviously, after 10 minutes or so. We wanted to do something that hadn't really been done with H-alpha filters. Found a good partner who could consistently make the glass. We really had to look around. The only way to get this filter is with an upgrade in the add-on section. So you would buy a filter on the Kickstarter page, and then you would need to add on one of these. We're only making 25 of them on this Kickstarter. So it's first come, first serve. It's going to be our most expensive filter after the campaign. So I'd definitely say if you're interested, get it now. And we'll have it in, again, 82 and 77 millimeters. Now, if you've ever watched CSI Miami or Miami Vice even, back in the 80s, if you see these landscape shots, they would have these colored skies. They'd be like pinkish kind of, or maybe a reddish kind of. What they were using were colored gradients to create that effect in camera. Very useful to have this for videographers and even landscape photographers who want to mix it up and change things. Maybe you have a really boring, blown out sky one day and you're like, hey, you know what? I'll just turn it into a different look. I've had a lot of fun with these in the past. My problem was they were made out of resin. Resin is a plastic that comes from plants. Not the greatest material for optical quality and sharpness. So we went through maybe 15 different manufacturers. We contacted everybody. Can you make a colored gradient in optical glass? And the answer was always, no, it cannot be done. We finally went back to one of our partners we've worked with before, and they said, we think we can figure it out. They sent me some samples. I tried them out. I'm like, yeah, these are pretty good. There are some technical things in the filters. So these are optical glass color gradients. The rings, we have the design. We're saving them as a surprise if we get there. We're going to start off with blue and purple. Red will probably be the next color, and we're aiming to try to get orange, which is even technically harder because blue mixes with orange and it creates this brownish color. It's not really beautiful. But there are certain things about the filters that technically have to be very dialed in for it to work, is that the color saturation has to be the equivalent of about 3 stops. So if it's not saturated enough, you're not going to get that lower exposure on the sky in order for it to work. And there's a certain position of the grad line that I like There's a hint on our previous Magic Grad that you know there's a secret there of where that line falls allows you to control the position of where the gradient is on the sky based on whether you're zooming in or out with a zoom lens. There's a lot of little tricks that we can do to make these great, but very excited to have it mostly figured out. And I have no idea, but I think this is going to be pretty popular because these are optical glass and that means they are going to be very sharp. The Miami Sky series will unlock at 200,000. It's one of our stretch goals. And if we reach 200,000, we will make these available. This is the new threadless step-up ring. This is the old step-up ring on my 24 to 105. This is a 77 millimeter thread, 82 millimeter step-up. Is to compare the colors. Very easy to see the difference between the original step-up ring and the new threadless step-up ring. So how does this work? I'm going to put this 77 millimeter adapter on here so you can see. So now we have just a plain old 77 millimeter adapter. Here's an 82 millimeter combo filter. And let's say I just wanted to use this combo filter real quick. Okay, so we're going to pop that on there, and then we're going to pop it onto the camera. That's all it is. It is a threadless step-up ring. People have been asking us for these for years. The problem is the larger the size, the magnetic ratio changes. So we have a smaller magnetic ring for a larger weight filter. So we can't get too crazy on them, but many of you have asked. Here it is. That's the threadless step-up ring. Many of you have asked us about step-down rings to go from a large lens to a smaller filter, and that's what this is. Again, the same kind of concept where we have exposed magnets. This is for strength reasons to make it stay on there. It is a very deep, dark red color, opposite of green, step down. It is also threadless. So I have a regular adapter ring here, boom, which means, for example, our diopters, if you wanted to use a diopter on it, right now we only have 82 millimeter diopters, boom. Now you can go diopter on a 95 millimeter lens. You can even go with an 82 millimeter cap on a 95 millimeter lens. If we are on the topic of the new colors of caps coming, this will be the first time we're going to reveal a few of the new colors. In the advertising, you're going to see a lot of the white cap. This is different than the other caps in that we had to paint it. You couldn't anodize it, which means there's an actual paint layer on here which will chip and will crack if you scratch it, and if you handle it roughly, it's going to do some damage to it, whereas the anodized ones, not as much. I just think it's a really cool looking cap. This is the first one that we've made. Very excited for that one. The rest are anodized. So this is our forest green, same color as the step-up rings, basically. There is the new teal cap, which you already saw. Pretty cool color, right? You guys ready for these? Silver. We have a silver colored cap. We also are thinking about releasing a gold colored cap. It's not yellow, it's not orange, it's gold. And then finally we have this powder blue. It's a much lighter color blue with a black ring. So one question we get a lot is, we understand it's a MAVEN filter, but I'm not crazy about the logo there. No problem. So each of these version 2 caps allows you to remove, some of them are, a little tight. You can remove these rings and customize how they look by switching the colors. And we know there's a few of you that actually do this, but many of you have already figured out that there is a little bit of space down here. So if you want to have your company logo, or maybe we want to have the size of the lens, or maybe something written here, you can cut out a little circular stock card. It can be plastic. Put it between this and the ring, cinch it down, and you've just changed the logo. So you can definitely customize how they look, the logos, stuff like that. One of the add-on packages that we're going to have in there is something called the expansion kit for the ring light. I wasn't really expecting to release these guys earlier because they really go better with another Kickstarter we're going to have in October or November for a different product, a non-filter product. But what we've learned is the ring light is so useful if you have a couple of accessories. This is a selfie stick. It has a little tripod on the end of it. Basically allows you to extend something. We have a new mini MAVEN ball head. You can go on your hot shoe mount, and you'll notice it's bi-directional. This was custom made to do this, to be in 2 directions, with a locking side thumb wheel. And we have this thing here. This is sort of like a double duty mini tripod. And the way it works is it'll act as a tripod like this by itself. But if you rotate this ring the other direction, they basically become light stands. So what we've learned is that if we can combine these in different ways, you can get a light stand for the ring light for different kinds of lighting, whether it's a Zoom call, product lighting. Just with these kinds of accessories, it allows you to use the ring light in all kinds of different ways. Super useful. This is called the expansion kit. It'll be discounted on the Kickstarter as well. So we made a quick case in 55mm, which is really designed for phone users. It is a smaller case because it's not as wide, very tiny, very easy to put in your pocket. But if you needed to have a show glow, a star effect arm, this is a dark CPL. We also have the new Dream Soft in 55mm, so cute. So if you wanted to use it with your phone, you have it, and we have this little quick case. We also have new quick cases available in 95mm and 112mm. We have put a ton of work into what we're calling the Buyer's Backer's Guide. We would strongly recommend that you download it. The link will be somewhere around this video, wherever you're watching this. The Buyer's Guide essentially will tell you what's available for this Kickstarter to purchase in the sizes. The rule of thumb is that we're almost always going to come out with an 82 and 77mm filter. In the case of the ring light, it's only available in 82. Just about everything else is 82 and 77. That's like 90% of the filters that we sell. But as we learn which filters are more popular, then we add the sizes. So the Buyer's Backer's Guide, it'll do a few things for you. Number one, it will show you what filters are available at the time that Backer's Guide is available. Number two, it'll show you the accessories and the sizes, the add-ons, and it will allow you to plan and be ready to know exactly what package you get. So when we hit the launch button, you're not deciding, you already know. Now, just as a brief explanation, the way it works is that you buy a package, which is basically your main reward, and then it takes you to another screen where it's asking for add-ons. It can be things like caps, adapters, step-up rings, clip kits, things like that. And you don't tell us your specific filters until we send the survey out. So once the Kickstarter ends in 31 days, Kickstarter collects your money, and then we will send you what's called a survey. The survey is sent out about 2 weeks after we collect your payment because Kickstarter wants to give everybody this grace period to decide if they really want to do it or not. But after 2 weeks, your rewards are locked in. The moment that happens, we send you what's called the survey. So the survey will allow you to designate the type of product, the size of product, the add-ons. It'll allow you to pay for different kinds of shipping depending how we're doing this. And that's where you get into the nitty-gritty details. Then we take that information and then we prepare your order depending on when the filters were backed. The earlier backers get them sooner, the later backers get them later, and we send them out to you as soon as they are ready. The moment they're ready, we send them out and try to get them to you. Those are the filters that we're bringing out for Wave 3 Kickstarter. Again, it is August 12th at 8 a.m. Pacific time. Thank you so much for your patience with me, and I look forward to answering your questions in the comments below and on the Kickstarter page once we launch. Take care. Hope you're having a great day.